I guess I should feel a little grateful that even though I've been through the turmoils of losing my original channel, I was terminated off of YouTube. I had to start all over again. I was, demonetized. I was completely had a bunch of strikes and fighting the hurdles of censorship and completely thrown off of YouTube, which is where I had to start from square one again. Just fighting the battles of trying to keep this channel afloat and keeping conversations available for people, allowing Kitz Corner to build and develop and grow and evolve and have these conversations because I'm such a free speech advocate. I want people to discuss and build controversy and build expressions among people. I think that's how we unify a lot of people together is the idea of open thought, the idea of being able to discuss different opinions, even on all sides, even if you don't disagree or agree with the person, you should be able to have conversations as regular human beings. So even with all that, I should feel a little grateful because it hasn't gone to this point of censorship, which I've seen a lot of things where censorship has gone to the worst, and that's why I'm against censorship. I'm against, the tyranny of the governments or tyranny of corporatization and, fascist leaders trying to silence out the ideals and opinions of ordinary citizens. But this is where this gets scary. This is where this gets unbelievably scary, is when someone actually gets killed because they want to silence out someone's journalism. Like, this is how crazy this is. So, this is coming out of Las Vegas, where an elected official was arrested in a fatal stabbing of a Las Vegas journalist. So, what happened is, there's a columnist for the Las Vegas paper, and was doing an op-ed piece, has been doing a lot of research for this candidate that was running for, I think it was state office or something like that, governor, I'm not totally sure, but he was running and did an expose on him, being a journalist, and the elected official, he got elected, and then went to that journalist's house and stabbed him. So I guess I should feel a little gratitude that hasn't happened to me yet. Like, I haven't pissed off to the point where someone's going to threaten my life. But at the same time, this is why this is so important. This is why, the fact of Julian Assange being locked away in captivity is so vital. Like, stuff like this should be front page headlines, to the point where we have to battle down and understand that this is an attack not only on constitutional rights, but attack on human rights. That people are being slaughtered and being killed because they're expressing their opinions, they're expressing their ideals, they're going against the grain, they're doing journalistic integrity right here. They're going against the establishment, and it's gone to the brink of violence. Like, it's just out of control, insane. So this is from Mercury News, and it says, it says Jeff German had written about the turmoil in office of Clark County Public Administrator Rob Tells. So there's the guy there. There's the guy there that got himself elected, and then, he definitely looks like someone you would see it on a Dateline episode. So it says a Las Vegas area elected public official was arrested Wednesday and identified by police as the suspect in a fatal stabbing of a veteran newspaper reporter whose investigations of the official work preceded his loss in June's primary election. So he lost his own election. He lost his own election, and he took it out on the journalist. Jesus Christ. Clark County Public Administrator Rob Tells was taken into custody at his home by a police SWAT unit hours after investigators served a search warrant and confiscated vehicles in the criminal probe of the killing last week of Las Vegas Review-Journal reporter Jeff German. The suspect in the homicide that occurred on September 2nd, 2022, has been taken into custody, Las Vegas Metropolitan Police tweeted shortly before 7 p.m. Wednesday morning, the Review-Journal and local television news crews reported seeing police vehicles at Tell's home. Messages left by the Associated Press for Tell's at his county office were not immediately returned. The developments came after police on Tuesday showed a brief video of a possible suspect clad in bright orange construction attire and distributed a photo of a 2007-2014 red or maroon GMC Yukon Denali 4-door SUV with chrome handles, a sunroof, and a luggage rack. Yeah, that definitely sounds like a third-party candidate, maybe an independent who cares about people. Yeah. When he pimps out his ride and takes a beating on a journalist. Jesus. Officials say the SUV may be linked to the case. Newspaper photos show Tell's wearing washing a similar vehicle on his driveway Tuesday, and the Review-Journal reported the SUV and another vehicle at Tell's home were towed away after police arrived on Wednesday. Tell's whereabouts during the search of his home were unknown. He returned to the house around 2:20 p.m. Wednesday wearing that appeared to be a white hazmat suit. He ignored reporters' questions as he entered through the garage. He was wearing a hazmat suit. And I'm amazed this is not a headline news. Like, a journalist was killed by a politician. Like, there was more media coverage and more outrage when Jim Acosta was told to sit down by Donald Trump. People were furious at that. But nothing for this. Nothing for this. German spent months, so that's the reporter. German spent months reporting on turmoil surrounding Tell's oversight of the office that handles property of people who die without a will or family contracts. County officials enlisted a consultant for the public administrator's office after German's reports were published beginning in May. Tell's a 45-year-old Democrat lost the June 14 primary election to his top deputy in office. His term ends on December 31st, and he announced after conceding the primary that he would return to practicing law. Wow. You know, I've had a lot of arguments with people about the ideals of freedom of speech. I've had a lot of arguments, and I've actually lost a few friends on the basic understanding of why this is important, why freedom of speech and is under attack, and why censorship, through social media and through the internet and journalism is such under target because of this, and how the oligarchy is manipulating and propagandizing on the regular, which is why people like me have to resort to being the watchdog, has to resort to being the journalist, even though I'm not a accredited journalist. I have to step up the plate and bring you this vital information, because you're not going to hear this on mainstream media. You're not hearing this on MSNBC. You're not hearing this on CNN. This would be deemed vital information to know that a politician literally killed a journalist who was reporting on him. That just seems ridiculous. And I'm sure there's multiple cases that have occurred throughout where politicians have done this before. Maybe in secrecy. Maybe, I don't know. There may be multiple occasions where this stuff like this happens on the regular that go unreported. And the fact that they're not mentioning this, the fact that they're not mentioning about Julian Assange, the fact that they're not mentioning about, the overreaching of corporate duopoly, censorship, and the fact that tech monopolies are aligning themselves with governments, aligning themselves with big pharma, aligning themselves with, big oil companies and multi-millionaire tycoons to decide what we should be able to read on social media, what we should be allowed to post, what we should be allowed to share, having that much control over the narratives, over the control over the posts and the information that we see on social media. They have control over the narratives, which means they have control over the culture. It's scary. It's scary beyond belief. And I've been trying to explain this to people on a daily basis, and I can keep repeating myself till I'm blue in the face, but people don't understand this. Maybe this would wake people up to realize that censorship kills. Like, I'm not being paranoid. I'm not being paranoid now when I say that. Censorship does kill. It kills the narrative. It kills the description. Like, he probably wrote something that was vital information that people should be aware of when they're choosing, when they're democratically choosing an elected official. Hey, here's some information you should know about that person. And that politician took it out on him. And the politician would not kill a journalist for making, crap up. They wouldn't kill him for false information. Obviously, he did something to tick him off to the point where this happened. And like I said, it could happen on a daily basis. Like, we don't know how many reports there are of situations like this. And we know that on a regular basis, journalists are under attack, and especially independent journalists. You look at the Gray Zone being tracked down by MI6 and the UK going after that. You see the video that we did about the German reporter that was in the Donbass region, how their, livelihoods have been taken away by the German government because they were accurately reporting and being objective to what they saw in the Donbass region. Their livelihoods were taken away. You saw how the Israeli army took down that one journalist in Palestine. Like, this goes on a regular basis, and this is not sending alarm bells to people. It's mind-boggling how Rachel Maddow and Anderson Cooper and Wolf Blitzer and all those, corporate stooges, even Sean Hannity of Fox News, how they can't fathom this, how they can't report on this, because it could happen to them. It could easily happen to them. If they get out of line or if they think outside the box, guess what? It could happen to them, and bang, their career could be gone, or they could be silenced out, or worse. That's how vitally important it is to fight for freedom of speech, regardless of people. I fight for the same rights of freedom of speech, whether it's me, whether it's Jimmy Dore, whether it's Alex Jones, whether it's Steven Crowder, whether it's Ben Shapiro, whoever it is. Even people I totally disagree with. I disagree with Alex Jones. I disagree with Steven Crowder. I don't watch those shows. I don't watch Ben Shapiro. I think he's a bit of an asshole. But does that mean he has to be silenced out? Does that mean his career needs to be taken away because he has a different opinion? God, no. That's what it means to be principled on the subject matter of freedom of speech, a constitutional right and a human right. Because we're all human beings, we're all different, we all have different thoughts and opinions and ideals, and that's what makes us unique. That's what makes society go around. If we converse with one another, we evolve. And if we actually talk to one another and not silence people out, maybe we can actually find some common ground and understanding, which scares the bejesus of the establishment. That's why they want you to think that we have to silence out the MAGA people, or silence out people on the left, or we have to silence out the traitors of democracy. Because they don't want people to talk to one another and unite on common goods. Because maybe there's people out there that are on different sides of the political spectrum, but maybe they have something in common. But how can you know if you're being silenced out and going through the hurdles of censorship by big giant tech duopolies being controlled by the government? And correct me if I'm wrong, that is kind of the definition of fascism. When the corporate estate aligns itself with the government to have authoritarian control. That is the definition of fascism. And this is the result of it. And like I said, I've been through the turmoils, but knock on wood, has not happened to me. I guess I should be grateful. But if I had the choice, I would rather have freedom of speech. But at least it hasn't gotten to this point.